everybody hang on to something. Preparing to live stream in 3, 2, 1. All right, everybody.
Still 59.
Still 59, but I think it is going. The meeting is being live streamed. All right. Good deal. Good deal. Okay, everybody. So, what garage startup made a product that might be in your pocket or your household?
What's it on the table?
And who is now on the fast food chain Death Watch? And why do we need a time zone on the moon? Well, these and other interesting topics we're going to be talking about tonight at the April edition of Inventor Friday. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for our Inner Circle folks on Zoom, and thank you all on YouTube for tuning in and being a part of this. We're really glad that you're here. I'm Don Skaggs, your host. Normally, Leo York is here. He is out with the flu really bad. Leo, we hope you're going to be feeling better again soon. And with me tonight, though, we have some very, very special guests. And one of which is Missy Ward. Missy, tell us about all about who you are and what you do and what you're all about.
Well, my name is Missy Ward, and I work in the media in Lexington. You know me maybe from Motivation Motorcar Show or from radio.
Sweet.
Yeah, wrong.
Sorry.
Nice try. Full-time real estate agent. I do some aerobics. You know, I do a little bit of good stuff. Yeah, Kevin over here drinking something. But right now I'm playing Inventor because I have my the new invention that's going to make walking a human or a pet, Kevin.
Yeah.
Easier. So,
Bring out the GIMP.
so, you know, I've been in bluegrass since '79 and just really love it here and just have that curiosity and that spark that when I see something that could be better, I kind of think, oh, let me do that.
Cool. Excited. And I've had a ringside seat to what you've been involved with. So.
You have, and the Inventors Network has really been super helpful for me. You guys, I mean, George Burkhart there, I know,
Yep.
you know, you gave me some aha moments. And, you know, this is all during NDA time. So nobody talks about your product or what you're doing. But they've been really, really helpful. So it's worth your money if you are an inventor, an entrepreneur, you know, you join the network.
Fantastic. Thanks so much. And also with me tonight is Nick Gilbert. Nick, tell us all about who you are and what you're doing. And you've had a little rebranding here lately.
Yep. Nicholas Gilbert. We own a company called Gen Evolution LLC. And Spring Engine Turbine, formerly known as EcoMech One. Yeah, we've done a little bit of rebranding. Turns out a lot of people don't care about the eco system. A lot less people interested than we thought they were. But yeah, we've invented the Spring Engine Turbine. It's just a wind-up electric generator that can produce electricity out in the middle of the field or basically anywhere. So all you do is wind it up and let it unwind, and it makes electricity.
It's pretty cool. We saw that at the state fair.
Yeah, the state fair at the innovations, the new innovations area out there.
Is it big?
The current model is pretty big. We're working with some engineers, Caterpillar's engineers, to make it. They're going to micro-engineer it, make it smaller and kind of a little more compact. So it'll eventually be quite a bit smaller when they get the production model available.
So is it like on Green Acres? You have to drive up the pole to crank it up.
Not quite not that film ground. It's fairly easy to
Warm it up.
How do you crank it?
She's going to be part of the crew.
Yeah.
This is good. Getting the hang of it.
And the other gentleman that you hear shouting in the background is none other than the man, the myth, the legend.
That's right.
Hemp Cattle's very own Kevin Poole.
They keep making the mistake and inviting me back. I'm sorry.
Really nobody else.
I just want to pre-apologize.
Kevin, tell them all who you are, what you do.
Oh, I'm Hemp Cattle Company. I'm Kevin Poole. I basically am a farmer in Clark County, just outside of Lexington. I got crazy ideas about plant-based proteins and inventions that can help the ag community maybe change the way that they do things. So I'm going to see them through, and Dawn's been more than kind enough to keep having me back, and I try to keep the jokes clean, but I make no promises.
Don't get us kicked off YouTube, Kevin. Also with us tonight is George Mulder, manning the cameras and taking care of all things technical tonight.
Pushing the buttons.
Pushing the buttons. So if the cameras mess up, you'll know who to blame.
There we go.
So, all right. Well, let's get things started here. Number one, our sponsor, we are in the Total Health Work studio tonight, and that's one of our very own, Bennett Gatto. They're getting ready to do a rebrand themselves, so be on the lookout for that. There's going to be some really cool products coming out. He's got some new releases. The name Vibed Health may be in the future, so that's all I'm going to drop at this point on that. And that's right. So also tonight, let me share my screen, and if I could find my screen to share. See, folks, hang on, here we go. We're almost there. And
It
there.
doesn't say the Techies Network. It
That's
says
right.
Inventors.
It
I don't-
says Inventors
There's a lot of
Network.
Don, I
That's
don't
right.
handle dead air very well. You're killing me over here.
All right, we're going. Now that I have shared my screen effect, you want to join us on our website, kyinventors.org. We have all kinds of stuff going on. As you can see, they're very busy website that probably needs some updates. We've got, if you're looking for upcoming events, we have them down here and on Eventbrite. We've got Inventor swag. We've got online courses. We got meeting replays. You can become a member and join us for one of our workshops. We've got a lot of stuff going on, and actually we've got a lot of other news that we're going to be sharing in the next few weeks and months that's really kind of big. So we're really excited, and I wish I could talk about it now, but I can't just yet. So anyway, with that, let's talk about some inventions in history. And this first one is let's go back to April the 2nd, 1889. Charles Hall patents an inexpensive method to produce aluminum, bringing it into wild commercial use. And you might think, oh, okay, yeah, aluminum, so what? No, that really kind of was a game changer.
Yeah, guys could grill out and not mess up the grill.
That's right. So, I mean, what would life be like without aluminum foil?
Yeah,
Right?
Yeah, I'm a girl.
A lot of people don't know that aluminum has the same tensile strength as steel, just lighter.
Really?
The more
I
you
didn't know
know.
that.
You can make anything out of steel, you can make an aluminum, and it's going to have the same strength, malleability, power. Yep, not, you know what I'm saying? Tensile strength. In other words, if you make a farm gate out of aluminum or you make it out of steel, doesn't make any difference. Aluminum is
Really?
going to be lighter.
It's just lighter, but it's just as strong. I always thought of aluminum as being.
Well, if you hit it with malleability, if you take a hammer to it, it's
Yeah,
going to be
yeah.
different.
Well, like
Yeah.
aluminum siding is different than aluminum, like you said, bigger, thicker aluminum, isn't it? I mean, if you put it on siding on the house, they used to use.
If you make steel thin and you hit it with a hammer, it's still going to make a dent. If you make
Thin,
aluminum
okay.
steel, they're going to make a dent. But if you make that's why you can make an aluminum bed for the back of a truck, and it's just as strong as steel. That's why people think of aluminum. What do they think? A tin can, or
Yeah.
Oil for the grill.
or
Right,
or
yeah.
or aluminum foil. And as they should. That's just how amazing it is because it's so light.
Wasn't there a thing where they were taking like aluminum foil balls and like just
No,
honing them down until they became like this smooth,
I think that's the
dense
aluminum
ball?
hats.
That
you
how?
wear.
Oh.
When the
We do have members that do that too.
No.
But no, a little fun fact for you. Aluminum. Yes.
Aluminum.
An amazing
Or as they say outside the U.S., aluminium.
aluminium. That's right.
Aluminium.
That's right.
Yeah.
If you're Britain.
And we're on the.
I see our South African representative Celeste is
Where's it on the
is-
elemental chart?
raising her thumbs. So yeah, aluminium. So, yeah, I mean, it was kind of an interesting story, really. I mean, the guy was like just kind of messing around and is with chemistry and said, you know what? That's I can I can take this and turn it into uh all kinds of different uh products and all kinds of different things. And it kind of got me to thinking, what else is out there that maybe it's the it's the thing, and you got to look at this at from the past perspective. So back in the 1800s, before he came up with this, aluminum was hard and expensive to produce into things. So you just had like silverware that they made out of. And funny thing was like stainless steel was kind of the same thing until they figured out how to mass produce the thing.
Yeah, I think that's
So-
probably the closest thing in today's market would probably be biomass and the leftovers of biomass and how they're, what's that one guy making spoons that of biomass? And then
Oh yeah,
he was on 60 Minutes. He was incredible.
was that guy from India that
He's-
was like you could eat your fork
Or
when it was
yeah,
done
when
or
you're done,
something?
yeah.
Well, you can't eat the aluminum. How's that?
Well, it's just a material.
No.
Well, what about though, I mean, they're building houses now with 3D printers
Yeah.
and that kind of stuff,
Well-
filaments and, somebody here said if they could get $250,000, they could start building the houses. You see them, they
Yeah.
squirt it out.
Yeah,
And that-
just
That could be a game changer in
That's
many ways.
concrete. That's pretty cool. But I wonder, I saw us also talking about houses where those people are able to build their own houses with like Lego blocks.
Yeah.
You print your own Lego blocks.
oh yeah,
Fantastic.
yeah, yeah.
Already insulated. Let's just put a house
You just
together.
put a house together and just like Lego blocks, and
That's incredible.
it's pretty neat stuff. Of course, the thing I always end up going back to is graphene. Graphene is
Really?
just,
What's
yeah.
that?
So
Carbon
graphene, if you took the lead of a pencil, about to go back in my chair. If you took the lead of a pencil and you just like wrote it out on or just like spread it out on a piece of paper, and you took a piece of tape and you put over that over that graphite and you pulled it up, and you get one millimeter or one atom thick of the Leo was here, he explained a lot better than I can. But you get like one atom thick. But the stuff, I mean, the stuff they've said that you could do with this is
that
amazing.
similar to like Molly?
No, I don't think so. It's
That
called
would,
graphene. Graphene.
In your day, it was.
So-
Molly, yeah, is I'm talking about Molly, molybdenum.
Oh,
Molybdenum.
Molybdenum.
Oh, yeah,
And
no,
I would
George
say
knows
Molly.
that.
It's an additive you can add to things that.
I don't
I
think
think it's
so.
graphite based though, isn't it?
I don't
Alright.
know that, but
So,
I know.
so graphite is carbon, molybdenum is molybdenum. That's an
And
element.
It's an
Molybdenum.
L.
Oh,
Graphene
It's
is
still an element.
carbon,
yeah.
yeah,
Isn't it?
molybdenum.
George is.
Never call that on the.
We have now gotten into George Mulder's family week because he knows geology.
Let's get back to her roasting thing.
So there's a new one coming out.
Back in the day, we're gonna do a little
You're gonna
Molly.
have to subscribe for that.
People probably think I'm on Molly right now. I'll be quiet.
But graphene was just interesting. So graphene, if you go on YouTube, right, and you look up graphene, they just talk about all these different things. Oh, it's going to be the next, batteries that are as light as. Well, you probably know about this, Nick, don't you?
I've
Help
done
us,
a lot of
Nick.
research, but
Come on.
I am aware of the graphene, and it's got promising future. if they can
Super,
get it
super strong, super light.
conductive, I believe.
But the problem is nobody can mass produce it yet.
Right.
So
Small scale.
whoever cracked, okay, out there, all your inventors out there, whoever can crack that will have the next stainless steel
It's like
or
Jeffrey
aluminum.
Cousin.
Yeah.
So,
you
so
go.
not to pop your graphene bubble, but I heard there's a new one coming out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I think it's, don't quote me on this one, but I think it's got something to do with boron. And it's
Boron.
boron. It's just like this new thing that
Wow.
they're finding all these uses for. So,
I'm too dumb to be in this.
I'm learning too. I've never heard of that one.
I've not heard of that one either.
Yeah.
Well, that's the beauty of this place.
I
So
put boron on my alpha.
More me.
I'm a boron moron.
Oh, goodness. All right, let's move on to the next one. Why don't we? Let's see. How about April 1st, 1976? Steve Wozniak and Steve Jobs
In the garage.
in the garage, founding Apple. Yep, that was on April Fool's Day was the day that they did this, which I just thought was pretty interesting, pretty cool. Let me share my screen and I will show you something I think is pretty cool. As soon as I can get over here, can you tell everybody? Can you tell Leo's not here tonight? That's it. Kind of shows. Here we go. All right. So Apple Computer is formed on April 1st, 1976. And what you see here is a picture of the first Apple computer. And I just, okay, it's
Wow.
wood. It's a computer made out of wood. And if I wanted a definition of a Frankentype, I think this would be. I really do.
It's the Apple One.
The Apple One. So that is. I wish I had a bigger picture of it actually. But so Steve Wozniak and I mean, that's pretty rough. I don't know if I'd buy that even in 1976. I don't care what it. But it just kind of begs to go. Well, has anybody in this room ever had a Frankentype?
Had a what?
Frankentype? Frankentype, and that's the difference. So there's Frankentype. People say prototypes. They talk about prototypes all the time. And I always put them in two different forms. One is the Frankentype, and that's where you snuck out to the graveyard of broken products and spare parts. You've used glue sticks and duct tape. Looks ugly as all get out, but
I still have mine.
You still have yours?
Sure.
I think everybody should keep their Frankentype.
I did. It was originally
like a badge of honor.
The first farm huggy. Try to make this as short as possible. I went and got a old school 1970s foam koozie. All right. And I cut the bottom out and made it shorter so that the medicine bottle would hold it, and then put Gorilla Tape around it, and then that was the first one. The second, I have the second model too.
Not duct tape, Gorilla Tape.
Whatever. And then all right, duct tape, and then we get sponsors. And then the second one, I took the same can koozie and I took an LA can and I cut the LA can so that I had an aluminum liner in the koozie. And then I somehow managed, you know what flux is? Flux is what you solder with, and there happened to be a lid. The flux lid happened to be the perfect size for a pop to that. So I took that, those little gelatin things that you get in the packages when you get veterinarian supplies, and they thaw out. And I went and squeezed that jelly down into that LA can, put my medicine in the jelly, and then put the top on where it wasn't exposing that. Still have that one sitting in my fridge.
Wow.
So that was, and then
Is that before coolers or?
Okay,
the
so
whole point of cutting a can apart and making it that.
the whole point is that whenever you're actually working animals, the medicine is in your hand, just like
Gotcha.
a Pepsi or a beer would be in your hand.
Much smaller. And
How long does your beer stay cold in your hand? Minutes.
Well, you had a koozie, but
If you have a koozie, then at least you're taking the thermodynamics that come from your hand and you're buffering them. But if you're going to be exposing it to longer periods of time, it can stay absolutely the same way it was in the fridge for up to 8 hours.
what'd you put in there?
Cooling gel, like the gel, the jelly.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, inside of the like blue
hole.
gel.
Yeah. So the first one, I was just shoving the medicine down into that cooling gel, and then obviously I wanted to make it more functional, and I started putting the cooling gel in a cold pack, and I started coming up with a retracting bottle that. Anyway, more
They
than
have
one.
those little boo-boo ones that you put on your face, the little coolers, the little.
Oh,
They'll have little packs.
I
You
still
wanna
have
take the little
Back
blue.
to this point, I still have my
Still have yours?
Frankentype.
yeah.
I still have 2 of them.
I've seen people do that, and they become a big company, and they'll in their lobby they'll put like a glass. They'll have like a glass case in there. It'll be their Frankentype.
My
Yeah.
walk and wee machine. I have the first one that I
Well,
with
So you should keep all those.
that first Frankentype. The the funny thing about it is my father, when I took these inventions to him, and he has 2 PhDs from MIT, I would set him in front of him and he would just look at him and just be like, that's a piece of crap, and destroy it. So I went back to the table and redesigned it, brought it back to him, and he would be like, getting better. And then it was just checks and balances, because he has the ability to see things and whatnot. So I had somebody, at least a backboard, to keep improving my product. That was key.
Always is. I'll bet you had a Frankentype with the Easy Leach.
Oh, yeah. God, I remember I had, well, I took apart some horse whips, and then I had the metal, the first one was metal rod, and they were too heavy and they wouldn't bend. And then I started, just researching what, and I think it was George Burkhardt who actually said something effective, like think of a fishing pole, horse whip, but the way that they bend. And that's when I got there, and I started going to Big Lots and buying cheap fishing poles and little parts and trying to put them together.
I love that.
Gluing them, piecing them. Yeah, I've got quite a few little prototypes. Even, this, tell that I glued this, I burned a hole in it with the glue stick, and then, I started printing the other ones that actually look good. So it's all been trial and error.
Right.
All trial and error. And you just have to go back, okay, well, that didn't work. Glue was one of the hardest things, because I tried about 27 different glues to make sure this would stay in here, and it kept coming out. So we're now at that JB Weld, what's that stuff?
Oh, yeah.
Because I said, what'll go to filament and fiberglass.
Wow.
And that seems to be working right now, but it's like
Oh,
5-minute
yeah.
curing.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find the 15 or 20 minutes.
So you're using an epoxy now to put it on.
Yes. And
Wow.
that's supposed to stay longer. So, and then,
Cool.
I haven't had them sitting in the sun long enough to see if, they'll melt, or, there's still a whole lot to go,
Well, you don't want to make them indestructible. People got to buy more.
This is true. This is true. That's what happens with those retractable.
Right?
ones. Yep.
Speaking of Apple,
Speaking of Apple. Yeah.
how many iPhones?
How many
iPhones you got? The
Right,
battery
yeah.
starts, the battery's not holding charge. Isn't that amazing how that happened?
Maybe it'd be
And, maybe they'll go back and buy 12 more phones.
I wonder if they came out with a monster cell phone. You just had like parts. If one part wore out, you just replaced it with something.
How about we make a cell phone with a hand crank over here where we don't have to ever charge it in?
I like that idea.
Huh?
What do you think, Nick?
Go.
Huh?
Spring powered.
Micro? Weren't computers
I
at
can
one
see
time?
that.
Weren't computers at one time and big as a room? I mean,
Yeah.
in time, people
Micro
will
engineer them down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
What's that thing's name? Hal?
oh yeah,
Oh, I don't know.
open the pod bay doors. Out.
Didn't it? Which is the one that beat like Gary Kasparov and Gus?
Oh,
One
I
of those
don't know.
computers beat him, and
Oh yeah, yeah.
There's a couple.
No, I was thinking about the one in 2001 Space Odyssey.
Oh.
Yeah,
This is
that was
like-
the HAL
Sorry.
9000.
This is
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
do you
The
want to
scary
play
one.
a game?
Oh,
We're nerding out. here
Yeah,
on the
we are
Inventors Network
nerding
here.
out. Imagine that, nerding out on
Yeah.
Better Friday. So
Where's Leo? We're getting out of this call.
we need Leo to lay.
Leo will be sitting over there going like,
Yeah, he'd be reining us in. Right
He's watching. He's watching this at home going.
now.
It's job security. Job security for Leo.
Oh, so Nick, did the Spring ET, did it have a Frankentype at one time, you think?
It did. It's actually on our website. On it, see it there. We've got a little glimpse of it on the website, springet.com, and it's the Frankentype is actually kind of highlighted on there just so you can kind of get an idea where it came from, And it literally had duct tape and a Pez dispenser and I think it had some soldering.
Pez dispenser. Okay,
Yeah,
okay, this
Pez
I gotta
dispenser
look
held
up.
Yeah, the Pez dispenser
I
held
got
up
much.
Yeah.
the
Okay,
Pez dispenser
I am-
held up the turbine.
I am so looking this up. Where, which page is it on?
Spit and glue, man.
Springet.com.
Spit and
Yeah.
glue.
On the, I think it's on the first video.
Oh, it's on the video.
Yeah, it's on the
Okay.
video, but you might be able to.
All
We need to get
right.
some pictures of that actually on there. We still got the prototype,
See.
the Frankentype, kept it.
See if I can,
Miracle.
If I thought about it, I brought it to show you guys. Pretty neat.
I think
yeah.
everybody keeps their first blue type.
Oh, yeah, this-
Type, whatever.
I would, yeah, I'd have,
Zero.
What is the website again? I can't hear very well.
I'm sorry, it's springet.com.
I'm gonna pull it up right now for you guys.
Then for the spring engine turbine.
So there it is, guys, in all its glory.
Oh, that's not too big.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's the prototype. It's way bigger and way open space than it can be. I know the engineers are wanting to crunch it in like a Nissan engine, you know, and make everything smaller, and it's not gonna have chain sprocket, it'll have
We
a
don't have more
transmission in it. and-
Chips and things, so they want to, you know,
Well,
they-
the logical control program, yeah, we'll have a chip in it.
How much does it weigh?
Right now, 550 pounds.
Ooh.
Yeah, the engineers think they can get it down below 100 pounds, which is phenomenal.
No way.
Wow.
Using, wow, that's great.
Well,
remember,
I'm
How
looking for
loud
that.
is it? Because sometimes, you know, in
It's virtually silent. The only thing you hear is when it calibrates, when the solar panel kind of calibrates the spring back and winds it up, you'll hear a little bit of clicking, and that's because there's what we call a sprocket break. And it, as it winds up, it makes a little ticking noise, but engineers say that they can make the teeth smaller, but make it out of harder material, and it'll actually be even more silent, you know.
Nick,
it's
I'll be honest with you, you might want to take some of that money, invest in a bodyguard. The last time somebody did something like this, they killed him because he made a call.
Well, that was, yeah, well, that's what we were concerned about, and we talked to our patent
You might
attorney,
wanna-
and he told us that, you know, we're only.
You're not there yet.
Is
Well, it's not that. We're literally just transforming mechanical energy. So it's not really, you know, it's not nothing new, but we just compiled it a little different.
I want to know what the Pez dispenser is.
Oh, yeah, keep going to the video.
Pez abuse.
Yeah, I
That's
reused it.
terrible.
I reused it.
Okay.
I didn't know.
So when is it available for purchase?
It will be available for purchase as soon as the engineers get the production model available. So we're in the front stages right now with that. Even after we get the production model, it goes through UL testing. They'll have to give us UL ratings on it, make sure it's safe, put all the proper stickers on it so people don't use it beside before we get electrocuted, that kind of stuff. So it'll be available soon, but not soon enough.
Well, with engineers, they can keep ticking and, you know, keep crunching on things. So if there's like a final product is my question, because we're obviously running into these threats of electrical shutdown. And over here in the Seattle area, we've had grids go out and they just explode. It doesn't sound very good. And then you're out for a long time. So
Right. We're trying really hard to get this thing, you know, available to the public as quick as we get out there. So it don't happen overnight, that's for sure. But we're working on it diligently, and we've got a little more time on our hands now to kind of seek out some more investors and get this thing to the market ASAP.
You have taken investment?
Not yet, we haven't. We've had some offers. We're trying to maintain control and interest of the company, and there's a lot of people want to take over that. So, you know, my attorney was okay with the 49-51 split, you know,
Yeah.
partnership, but we have to, you know, maintain control
Oh,
and
yeah.
interest, just because
But
if we want
you-
to put it on a houseboat and they don't, ties it up, and, you know.
But as an admin, all the people that actually own the patent are still on 100% of the company.
Yeah, I own 100% of the company.
You do, and you said you had a partner that owns.
No, we don't have a partner yet. But if we do get a partner, it has to be a 51-49 split.
I see.
So that
You want
so the
control.
documents control the
Yeah,
interest,
yeah.
yeah, it's just safe for the company.
You'd be on that American Patriot side.
Why would you
You're
want
getting
to?
that food and you
why
gotta
would
go
you-
off the grid and like, oh, you're all American. You get here, you need one of these, baby, if you're going off the grid.
On your offers that you've gotten, are you getting close to that 50-50 split, or is it? you could-
No, they're actually, I mean, we talked to the Department of Defense, they wanted to maintain, they actually wanted to take control of the patent, you know, for
Of
5
course
years.
they did.
5 years, and then if they couldn't sell it within the 5 organizations of the Pentagon, then it'd come back to me, but they keep 20%.
Yeah.
A lot of red tape, and then
Yeah.
a lot of people seeking, like, well, you know, we'll put up the money for 60% of the company.
Yeah.
And of course, you know, we had to go to our attorney, and he said,
Right.
you know, he's our advisor.
Not a good idea.
No, we don't do that.
I mean,
We're looking
anytime
for-
they
we're
can
looking for
permit,
patents
they don't do
legitimately.
anything fast or well.
I
Right.
have a question. Just because if you're the owner of the patent, and like one other gentleman was joking about if you get whacked, who have you put that patent inside of a trust to where it's managed, or, you know, because it is like they're saying it's not something to joke about when you give people independence. It's
I don't know. We just recently became American State Nationals, and so there's talk about trust and stuff like that. So we're looking into that. We haven't done it yet, but we've got the patent is actually it's the intellectual property patent. We didn't do a design patent because our attorney says, you know,
Yeah.
patent, you know, the design
Yeah.
patent is issue, you know. The way that this machine is set up, we've patented the process to make the electricity. So We got a pretty solid patent. And then, like I said, as of right now, with our, changing our political status on paper and getting papered up to the land recording office, we're pretty safe. We'll probably do a trust. I need to be educated further on that. It's in discussion. So yeah, looking forward to that.
Okay, because I am a trust officer by background. So when I hear this, I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah, safety.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what, let's move on. And by the way, if you are in the inner circle group and you do have a question, put it in the chat. We're going to go over questions here a little later, but I do want to move us along so we're not here too late tonight. But good questions all. So let's look at the last one here. And this one's kind of a two-parter, really. So on April the 13th, 1966, the U.S. enacts the Uniform Time Act. I didn't even know this was how they did it, but so basically this will, and I'm gonna pull up the thing here. And so the Uniform Time Act of 1966, enacted April 13th. So that was the adoption to observance of time within standard time zones. This basically is what gave us the wonderful daylight savings time, that where we have to set the clocks forward and set the clocks back every year. And a lot of people like it. A lot of people don't like it. I don't know. Is it? And we got a couple of ag folks here. So what do you guys think? Yeah, you guys are both in agriculture. What?
I can tell you how it affects me. Franklin suggested it,
Right.
but I think it has some harvest seasons. It helps me. Longer days, more efficient. I'm able to work longer hours or have my employees work longer hours during, to be more efficient, to make more food, to make more hay, whatever you're doing, to make more crop.
So it really does help the farming industry.
Yeah, and then in the wintertime, the shorter days, you tend to your animals. It goes down to a minimum type schedule where you're, so yeah, I think there's something to it. It sucks when you have to wake up when it's dark and you have to,
yeah.
but I get it.
That was my downside to it.
I get it. I get it. It sucks when it's dark at 5:30. I get it. But I'm good either way,
Maybe we could just go a half an hour. Nobody
Okay,
can
we could-
decide, so maybe we
we-
can switch a half an hour. And
I think they're thinking about getting rid of it.
they are going to
Well,
try to
we
get
talked
rid of it.
about it.
I've heard that.
They are. It's been put out there more than once, I think.
Yeah,
Would it put the hurt on farming, you think, if they did that?
I don't know. I can't imagine them ever getting rid of it because we subsidize agriculture heavily in the United States. We loosen laws for agriculture in the United States. We protect food to the nth degree in the United States, and so it doesn't feel like that in the grocery store lately. But I can't imagine that this would. People don't. How about this? Somebody, I don't know who it was, a quote someone said that we are 6 missed meals away from society breaking down.
Yeah, I have heard that.
So keep that in mind.
So maybe we don't mind getting up early.
You thought it was bad we ran out of toilet paper.
Just whether you run out of groceries.
If it becomes, dog eat dog world and we're all wearing milk tone underwear, but we run out of food. So it's amazing how you'll turn on your neighbor if your stomach's hurting.
What's the movie? What's up now?
Oh yeah, Julia Roberts. Yeah.
No.
Are you talking about
Julia Roberts, the Obama produced movie.
That was what?
Is that?
That's it.
Okay. What's it called? I can't remember.
I can't remember where the cars were wrecking and all
Something
that.
about the end of the earth.
I watched it.
Something. It was super scary, but there was no solution. Like, he's president, so why don't you say this is what?
Let's not go conspiracy just because he produced the movie.
Right, where he says electricity's going out, you're all gonna die.
Well,
They're gonna turn on each other, but there was no solution. Like, let's upgrade.
there's a movie also about Civil War. Let's not go down that path.
But if you had a springy tea when the power went
That
out,
would help.
That's
then
right.
That would be awful
yeah.
I think I told him when I was a kid and we were talking about before the show. I said I used to have that flashlight. I used to wear that thing out.
Oh, the crank
The green-
flashlight.
yes, and I used to-
Oh yeah.
I thought I was ready for the apocalypse when I was 6. You know, and here he. Yeah, good point.
Oh,
Yeah,
good.
No,
that's what I'm
but-
saying.
Six meals. 6 meals is
6
all it
meals.
takes before people start.
Yeah.
Shooting each other.
That's tragic
Yeah.
and scary.
Just think about it. Sorry, not to be a Debbie Downer.
Yeah. Alrighty, just-
Thanks for lightening the mood, Kevin.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Let's move on to speaking of time. All right, this next one's kind of interesting. We're kind of moving on to things in the news, and so this NASA is going to create a new time zone on the moon.
How much will that cost us?
So yeah, well, I kind of looked into this and I thought it was, a little strange. And I thought, okay, why would you do that? But then it was kind of some interesting reasoning behind it. So they officially announced the creation of a time zone on the moon. And the reason why they were wanting to do it is now, and I can tell now, Missy's getting bored.
Do you have any crayons?
Oh, so the reason they're going to do this is because time actually passes at a different rate on the moon.
I guess it's.
Well, it's like we have different time zones in
This-
California.
this
Just say
sounds
how
like-
far it is and give it a zone. Why do we have? to
I mean, no, literally, if you've got a clock on the moon and you've got a clock on the Earth, not by much, but by enough to where if you're doing something really, really precise, like landing a vehicle, it's off enough to throw things off.
They've landed vehicles there for years. Those rovers, Mark, they've been landing them there for years. I don't understand them, but that's okay. You guys.
Well, the one good thing is there's only going to be one time zone for the moon, for the whole moon.
Oh,
so
that's
at
big.
least it won't be
That's
like
big.
Eastern moon time or Western moon time or moonlight savings time.
Well, the sun only shines on one side of the moon, so it means there's only gonna be a time zone on half the moon. Impartial to the sun.
Yeah. So is it the same time on the dark side
That's
and
what I
the
say. We only
light
have,
side?
we only have time because we have a sun in orbit. So like,
Yeah.
some other sun, I guess, base it on cycle and rotation of the sun and Earth. So
Speaking of the moon, did anybody see the eclipse?
Everybody saw the.
Everybody.
I watched it wearing a welding mask.
Well, there you go.
Did not want.
There- So let me say something about the eclipse, which
All right.
they leave out. Here in Lexington, I looked at through a welding mask also. And I couldn't find the glasses, but I think we were about 95% in the eclipse
Yeah,
here.
pretty close here.
Yeah,
So if you're in 100%,
totality.
then that's a big difference because now you're seeing the corona. There's all this other stuff to see. But if you weren't in the totality, what you got to watch for when you're at the maximum is the shadows. And this is the coolest thing.
Yeah.
And
I've heard
nobody
about
on TV, nobody's telling you about this.
Everybody's looking up, nobody's looking down.
If you right, and you got to look down at the shadows. And if you got a tree with leaves on it that has holes in it, it'll act as a pinhole camera and put the projection of the eclipse on the ground through the holes in the leaves on the ground.
Seems like
That's
we would've
one
said
thing
that
to watch
last
for.
meeting.
Right, we should have known it. You got
Yeah, we
20,
should've
20 years now.
Right now, somebody put that in my
And
memory.
the-
bank.
and
The next one.
Other really cool thing is look at the shadows, the edge of the shadows. So if you go outside now and look at your shadow, there's blurry sides. Shadows are not straight. They gradually go off, believe it or not. And during the eclipse, you don't have those shadows.
Really?
All the
Wow.
edges are perfectly straight.
So what they call it,
So-
the moon shadow?
I saw
But
some
you-
videos of what you were talking about under the trees, and it was
Yeah.
pretty cool. looking.
Yeah.
So
I
you
didn't know about the edge of the shadow.
the edge of the
Yeah, me
shadow, and
neither.
what happens is you don't know
Wow.
what everything is looking freaky because everything that you're looking at, if you're outside with the shadows, looks different, and you can't tell why.
You got those
And
stupid
it's because
glasses on,
you're-
so you can't see anything.
because you're
except for the
missing
makeup.
I
the-
took mine off.
You're missing the shadow. The shadows are different, and you don't.
You're just waiting for Rod Sterling to kind of
So now you gotta-
walk out from the.
Now you got to wait 20 years
Now I gotta
to
wait
check
20
it out.
years.
But remember that.
Well, I can tell you my 2017 story. So in 2017, I went to Hopkinsville, Kentucky to see the total, and it was
Yeah.
absolutely amazing.
Right.
I did make the mistake, however, not to book a room that evening in Hopkinsville and tried to go home
Oh, no.
with everybody
Everybody.
else. And it was, I have never, it took, so Hopkinsville is how far from Lexington? Probably 3 hours, 4 hours. It took me 12 hours to get.
Wow.
I mean, I could have walked faster than we were moving. If there were ever a Kevin Poole disaster that like you described, then this is what it felt like, because it was like nobody,
Gridlock.
You
nothing
can't
was
get
moving.
gas.
No,
gotta
you couldn't,
pee,
couldn't,
the whole
couldn't
deal.
get off the
You have to have
road.
snacks. You gotta hope
No,
you got a
you
little
couldn't
right
go.
because we got
Yeah.
snacks. We got
Right.
all kinds of things. You know, we're ready for the emergencies.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So anyway, all right, let's move on to the next one here. So Google AI has discovered 700 new materials. So this is a strange one, folks. So, we've been talking about AI for a long time now on us. Different stories about how, what all it can do and what all it, but this is Google AI has now actually done something. It's actually come up with, allegedly, 700 have already been created, new materials, predict the structures of 2 million new materials. More than 700 have already been created and are now being subjected to lab tests. So it's like, okay, if I put this together and this together and this together, I'm going to create, the next
Like
aluminum.
chemistry.
Yeah. And it's like, okay, well, now AI is like doing all that.
But
in
the AI also
super
lies.
fast.
If you check the facts,
Yep.
you checked all of those materials, Don, to make sure they're actually real.
Well, and you know what? In this story, I thought there was a real interesting little wording how that you mentioned. So if you look real close in the article, it says 700 have already been created and now being subjected to lab tests,
So,
which tells me
they were already there.
they don't know yet. They don't know. They're testing it to see if it's really, if it's if AI got the box of crayons out and said, oh, here, I think this might work. So
It's taste testing.
taste testing. I mean, yeah. So I don't know. What do you think, guys? Is this a great tool, AI, for certain applications, or is it just flash in the pan? Is it just a lot of
It's been
fluff?
being used for years in certain applications.
Yeah.
And it just makes, I can write a story about a house and say, a 3-bedroom, 2-bath cottage, write me a little description.
Yeah.
And it'll do that. I mean, that's easy. I can write postcards to clients through a little AI thing I have. So I think as long as it's harmless, it's around, but I
So
don't know.
so realtors are using.
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah.
I did not think of that. That's cool.
yeah, on our CRM pattern, it can say, send a postcard to so-and-so, and it can say, create a saying, and yes, dear so-and-so, and then about, hope you have a great day, and and you can change it. It does not always speak like you would, the timbre, the
Where was
rhythm.
that when I was writing thank you notes when I was a kid?
Right?
Yeah, you don't want to sound obsolete, but
Right.
I mean, it's been used for a lot
Thank
of
you
stuff
notes were
like
like torture. My mom's like, yeah, right, thank you notes.
So what do you guys think?
I don't know. Hard to say. I don't know enough to say whether it's gonna make a change or not, but seems awfully scary and interesting at the same time. You know, definitely a front that we'll have to see as it goes. Hopefully, we don't take too many wrong steps.
Yeah, as long as it doesn't.
You know, not everything's like the movies. You know?
Yeah, as long as it doesn't control our food, right?
Oh, it will. It will.
Control food production.
He thinks it's gonna be like the movies.
It could- I know AI helped us write some of our stuff on the website.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
We had
Well-
said completely like she said, changed it around where it made more sense. And I mean, it corrected the grammar.
Yeah.
I mean, it was pretty interesting, you know.
Seems that I see a lot, like either on LinkedIn or one of those where you push and it says, need help, want AI?
Yeah,
Right
it's
at the bottom, I
becoming
mean-
easier to use as far as availability, I think.
Yeah.
Don't you think? But yeah, I mean, you know, and it's funny when we broached this topic at one of the ones earlier this year. Leo had made a great point of it's a tool.
Right.
That's right.
And if you
Another
think
tool.
back to the early 2000s when .com, they thought all you needed to do to make $1 million was just put .com after it and it would automatically be a success. And people found out, no, it's not really how that works. And, but at the same time, there were some things that were useful that were on the internet that became our Google and our Amazon and all the other stuff that's out there.
I'm so
And
thankful
the-
for alcohol.
And inventing the internet.
Yeah.
But anyway, the I think AI, I think there's a parallel here because they think we'll just slap AI on it and it'll be great. And sometimes it's like vomiting gobbledygook. And then
Well, it's not always right.
That's
the
not always
thing, it's
right,
really-
yeah.
I mean, to do something simple like a
Yeah.
thank you note, is
Yeah.
one thing, but to talk about some sort of experiment or
Yeah.
something where
right.
it does it and then you're like, "Ooh, that's not right."
Yeah.
Well,
And
it can't always be right either because,
No.
you know, it's, to me, AI is like, it's a program. You know,
Yeah.
it's like a job. It's like Java.
It's a wrench.
And it figures all possibilities. So all possibilities, some possibilities are not going to be right. So, I
Mhm.
mean, it is going to be wrong half the time. If, you know, 50% of the time, it should be wrong. I mean,
The harder question you give it, the more wrong it's gonna be. It's like a Alexa.
yeah, but it
Yes,
learns.
it's a really-
It learns because, you know, Java's if then, like if I do this,
Yeah.
then this occurs.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's figuring it out as it goes. If I make this mistake, I'll not make it again. You know what I mean? And so I understand the basic of the program, and it's pretty neat. It's interesting that they got where it answers itself based on its answers. You know,
Before.
yeah, the answers before it. So
Have you ever asked Alexa to start the self-destruct sequence? Which is funny. She doesn't like little. And I don't have an Alexa, but I was somewhere where they had one.
Okay, wait
And
a
I
minute.
said, I said,
Self-destruct sequence.
I said,
Who thinks of that?
nerds.
I am scared now. So what happens?
Oh, she does a little countdown of like, and then goes boom. So,
Yes.
and then something somewhere blows up. I don't know.
Yeah, like Hogan's Heroes, like, oh, the bridge just blew up
Yeah.
out there.
Oh, so all right. Well, let's move on to something a little more dark here. Let's see. We really let's see if we can up our game. So a fast food chain is now kind of on its last legs. Can you guess what? Yes, you guessed it.
Oh,
All
yeah.
right.
What'd you
knew
say?
it. Boston Market.
Oh,
I work in the meeting.
Oh, so you've got an advantage.
Yeah, I've seen it a little bit.
Yeah. So this was
We haven't
That's
had one here
sad that-
forever.
Boston Market's good.
we have not had one locally here in Kentucky. Good
20
long time.
years.
Yeah. No, absolutely. So I am going to.
good.
And they tried then
It
with
was
frozen
the
stuff.
best. Then
did a
they
frozen
tried the frozen,
packaging, yeah.
and the frozen was not
Didn't
like
really work.
no,
No,
was not like it at all.
isn't that a John Y product? Wasn't that?
Was that John
I
Y.
think
Brown?
that was John.
It might have been John Y. Brown.
One of us, yeah.
Boston Market's been.
Oh no, John Y. Brown goes way back,
Mm-mm.
doesn't he?
I mean,
John-
it's
John
right
Y.
up in
Senior.
Boston. They're everywhere out there.
Oh yeah. We'll find out.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Maybe I don't know everything there is to know about.
I know I really liked their food. It was really, it was like that and Kenny Rogers Roasters. Those are two places that
Oh, that might be one.
that I think you're right. But there was a similarity to those
It was the
places.
same. It was incredibly value. I mean, you could go in there and drop buckets and walk out with
Yeah.
incredible amount of food.
Oh yeah.
Maybe that's their problem.
Well, according now, it
Oh, in
says
1989, George Natto, who had opened the first Kentucky Fried Chicken stores in Boston, checked it out, and he became
oh,
famous.
interesting. So the company no longer has a headquarters as it was seized in May 22 by the Colorado Department of Revenue. I didn't know that. Yeah, that's not good. Bleak picture keeps getting worse. Restaurant reported the chain has dwindled to 27 locations. Used to have 1,000, over 1,000.
McDonald's
So-
bought Boston Market in 2000
Really?
for $1.73
Well,
million.
you think of McDonald's of all people has enough resources to turn something around.
Well, there was
but-
something else, there had to be something else, food quality or employees or
Right.
locations or something. that-
No.
It doesn't all just. fall
When
apart.
when they left here, I had read a story that they said one of the reasons they were saying that was that they thought they were growing too fast.
You can.
It was just like too much too fast, and
Gets
they
out of
just
control.
overran their headlights, and boom, and that's when they started going down. I mean, that was a while back though. I mean, that was a good while ago. And but yeah.
What's the real reason why they're dying though?
Well, I don't know now. I mean, unless it was just a very, very slow death spiral. But according to the article, I mean, of course, they're not saying a lot. But it's like they're almost in hiding. It's like nobody can get a hold of anybody, and which is always a bad sign.
With the McDonald's business team behind it, Boston Market was able to rebound and started selling some of its items as frozen food packages in supermarkets, seemingly contradiction of the original owner's message. In 2007, when the number of restaurants stabilized at over 500, McDonald's sold the company to Sun Capital Partners. As of 2015, it had 452 stores and was doing over $600,000 in revenue. Something went awry.
Something went awry. But yeah, but I think sometimes you can move too fast. I think it can hurt you if you're moving if faster than you can keep up.
I used to like Schlotsky's.
Now there's
There's still
there's
one in Lexington.
there's a couple here in Lexington.
Yeah, Tiverton,
Yeah.
Tiverton Drive.
Oh yeah.
There was two. Now there's one.
Tiverton.
Oh really? They closed that.
There was one on Nicholasville Road. Oh, right. That
Where's
closed
the
a
other
couple
one?
years.
Where's the other one?
Well, that's off of Nicholasville
But
Road
right,
too.
it's Tiverton.
Yeah,
it's right on
Tiverton.
Nichols.
So
Yeah.
where was the other one? There was another one someplace.
G.D. Ritzy.
For all you
Well-
folks that are not in Lexington,
Yeah.
Kentucky,
And
these are locations in Lexington.
Schlotsky's is good though.
So
Well, a lot of people don't know this, and is that Lexington is actually a food hub.
It's one of the biggest eating out per
I
capita in the
heard
country.
A
You
lot
can't
of,
make
I
it here.
mean, you could go down the list.
I heard there was
Fazoli's,
more per square inch, more restaurants. per
Charlotte, North
square
Carolina
inch.
is the only one that's got more.
Really?
We eat out
Wow.
more per capita than
That's
any other
correct.
people, and you just can't get in a restaurant. If you can't make it here, then you can't make it anywhere.
Well, it's been a bastion. I mean, Outback Steakhouse, University of Kentucky
Yep.
tied in with a lot of, I keep going. Papa John's, Fazoli's, I think, started
Yeah,
here.
Yeah,
because
they
there was
did.
the whole Long John Silver's, Jerry's, and
Yep.
that whole
Mhm.
conglomeration.
That's
Yep.
correct. It's
Yep.
been a
Oh,
place
yeah.
of trial.
Frisch's and-
If you're gonna open a fast food chain, Lexington's been very friendly to
Mhm.
the food, I guess, fast food
Quick service,
genres that have, besides burgers and fries.
Yeah.
except for some
KFC,
certain
obviously, I'm not
locations.
really say that. So.
There's certain
Or-
locations that will open and open and open, and nobody,
It's-
it's like, it's terrible. that there
It's
are
like
certain
it's a
locations.
doomed location.
Right. and
A
when they're
cursed
probably-
location.
It's like, nothing can make it there.
The
Yeah.
cursed restaurant location. Oh, goodness. So
It's a food town.
it's a food town. It really is. Guys, if you really want to come to a place where there's a lot of restaurants, Lexington, Kentucky.
Yes.
So, all right. Well, let's go on here. And I think we're going to talk a little bit now about the Cruiser Easy Leash. Yes.
Yep.
So tell us how you got started with this.
Okay. Well, I've always been super active. And in college, I had a car wreck and broke my femur in a couple places. And fast
Ouch.
forward 35 years, and you've got a picture of it there on one of my slides.
Oh.
My leg, it's the second slide. And so in 2018, my leg had to be rebuilt. So it was hip, knee, and then I fell and broke my femur again after the hip and the knee, all in 3 years. So I went out and started walking my dog. Next slide. So when I went out and started walking my dog, I was super unsteady.
Ouch,
And
yeah,
I thought,
that does
"Ooh,
look
you're gonna go
painful.
down." And he wrapped around my legs.
Yeah,
And I thought, okay, this isn't good. Who does this? There's
Right.
got to be a better
Yeah.
way. I'm gonna go home and start looking. And there's not. And then I start looking at, people being injured and just article after article, dog walking injuries, the downside, fractures and head injuries, leash-related injuries associated with dog walking, understudied risk for dog owners. Dog Fund studies increasingly dog walking, it's just on and on. And there were traumatic brain injuries, 23,000 in a 15-year period. And I thought, well, that's kind of crazy. And they were mostly to women and senior citizens. According to Forbes here, in last April of this year, 423,000 people went to emergency departments after being pulled or tripped by a leash. So we got hips, we got knees, we got femur. So I was like, okay, this is not good. A lot of people are getting injured. Why isn't there something better? So I just started looking around. And I thought about, that invisible dog
mm-hmm.
that used to have at the fair
Oh,
that could be walking.
Yeah.
That's kind of my inspiration. I thought, look at that thing.
Hmm.
And so I found some things. I put together, like just a prototype. And I look. First, I started with a tube, like a PVC tube, and I put a chain through it. So I thought, you can hook the dog on there and you got the chain here. Well, that's not really going to work. Here's what this looks like. And like I said, you guys, when I started talking about it, I knew what I wanted, but I didn't have the right pieces in mind.
Yeah.
What will bend? And when you said, look at the fishing pole, look at the horse whip, things like that, it's like genius. Well, then I started trying to source those. Good fishing poles are expensive, fishing pole blanks. And, buying horse whips and taking them apart is expensive. I went to a few local people. I went to Fennel's. He was super nice. Charles was super nice, but he's like, I don't know if I can get you these whip rods. It's not for a horse product. He tried, he couldn't get them. I start looking all over the world. I went to the Kentucky state site that's, we're so manufacturing helpful, nothing. The guy said, no, there's nothing here. Okay, fine. So then I had to open a business in order to go to Alibaba. And so I opened the Duke Leash Company. And I have like 5 styles of leash that are named after my dog. So I got a small, a medium, a large, and then went for my horse, Gallant, because this also is great for your horse. My friends' grandchildren, go out and get the horse, and they don't have that big long lead to trip over. There's a lot of trip hazards in our lives here. And I fall a lot anyway. I fell today. I fell twice last week at, got some little neuropathy issues. So it was really super important for me. And I thought, how does somebody with a wheelchair walk their dog? They could wrap around the legs. I just started thinking, it's really kind of a need. And then I went to my orthopedic surgeon. I asked him, do you see a lot of injuries? He said, yeah, we see a lot. Gave him a leash to try. He said, I would recommend this. I would tell my people to call you. I went to our veterinarian. I said, do you see a lot of injuries? He said, yes, especially retractable leashes. They're like the worst. He said, I see people with burns all the time on their legs. He'll sell them at his place. And then I got him out to some people. I got some feedback, which if you go through there, you'll see some of the feedback. My girlfriend said, can you make a little longer one for my dog being a little bit bigger? I said, sure. She said, can you put reflective tape on it? Just other ways. And this is really important here. I think it's the product, but also the purpose, because face it, you could just say, well, I can't walk my dog because I don't feel steady. I'll take him to the park or whatever.
Right.
But I can't walk him. But not being able to have a pet is really sad for a lot of people, especially the females and the seniors, because they're good for your health. They provide companionship for loneliness. and PTSD. You know, they create community. If you go out and you walk down the street and somebody may say, oh, your dog's so cute, I want to live up the street if you ever need anything, you know, there's a sense of community. Also exercise. They help lower blood pressure and stress. So that's where it kind of came together. I thought, you know, people that are scared to walk a pet or that have been injured are not going to be able to enjoy those benefits. And so you have to have the why and the problem, and then you solve the problem. So things have been going really well. I was in the entrepreneur boot camp at the Gatton College of Business and won second place last year in the 1.0. So I got invited to 2.0. And we just did our final presentations yesterday. So we'll know the winners next week. Probably going to go to 5 across here soon.
Cool.
But, you know, once I opened the company, then I could get the parts. Of course, it takes, you know, 4 weeks to get something, but it wasn't really bad. The prices, though, it's like if I pay 65 cents for a rod, it's 65 cents each for shipping. So while it's not costing me a lot, I went to the lady at Sandy's and asked her if she could help me sew this because it's super thick. And she said, well, I can sell you a sewing machine. I'm like, lady, I already bought a 3D printer. I'm already in the learning curve and my brain's about to explode. So I bought the 3D printer so that I could make the parts at home and not have to worry about anybody else. I did go to UK Innovate and they showed me which one they thought I should get. They said, you get it, it'll be up and running in 15 minutes. So make your life easy there. You know, there's just little variables of, you know, I didn't have this hole in it, like I said in the beginning. And so I had a guy go back and put the hole in it. You know, putting on this handle too, makes it something you can actually reach onto instead of being jerked by your arm or your leg. So it's kind of a secondary. And then I feel like as we go on, you can have different handles that you can sell. And that's why this piece is so crucial, because this could be a different shape and it screws right onto this other piece. And so you could have a handle like a retractable or, you know, just whatever for people with different types of issues with hands or ADA, you know, stuff like that. So, and I just started making them and playing with them and asking people about them. And there's a really good book that somebody recommended. It's called The Mom Test. Did you know that it's an easy, quick read. But you know, if you have something new, some sort of product, a lot of times if you ask them, oh, that's a great idea. That's great. But they really don't think you're going to do it. Like if I had one of these, would you buy it? Sure, that's great. You should do that. But when it comes down to it, would they really buy it?
Right.
When you get down to it there, and would people really use it? So that's, you know,
Yeah, and that happens so often is it's like, well, you know, my best friend likes it and my other people that really like me like, of course, they're not going to hurt your feelings.
right.
You gotta find people that are willing to say yes with dollar bills.
Or brutal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, without all the bills, I'm willing to go, okay, I like it, but, you know, I'm like, tell me what you think, tell me what you need, what you want, because I need to know now.
Yeah.
You know, so.
So what was the hardest part of this whole process for you?
It was sourcing the products. And then getting this piece made, figuring out how to get, you know, I knew I wanted the sturdy rod. I knew I wanted a buckle on it, but figuring out how to get the rod into a handle that would work. And I found a great little guy who was like an engineer CAD guy, and he drew this for me. And, you know, I went to UK and they printed some. They said this wall needs to be a little thicker, you know, add a couple more. You just keep tinkering.
Yeah.
And then he went back and put the hole in so we could put the leash brand on there. But you just keep tinkering and asking people for suggestions and things. Eric and Ben down at Complete 3D are the ones that said, well, instead of I was just kind of roping that around there, but now it's permanent on there. You know, just little things, and you kind of have to look at them and go, okay, you know, I can improve it at all times.
Very cool. Very cool.
So that's pretty
What helped you the most, you think, for the whole process?
Well, finding somebody to draw this piece, and then you all, you know, just the thinking and thinking out loud in our NDA meetings of like, guys, how can I do this? I know what I want. And then there was the mean guy that time who said, oh, I think they've already made that. Rah, 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 rah. He said, no, they haven't. Don't bring me down. You can't say something positive. So, but I did look at that, and he was thinking about one of those dog catcher poles with the loop around the top. Like, it's not really the same thing.
I know what NDA is, but what are NDA mean?
Oh, that's our workshops. So those are the It's the second meeting of the month we do.
Okay.
And so it's all members only. We all work under a joint non-disclosure agreement. So whatever we talk about in the workshop stays in the workshop.
All right.
Safe place. You can talk about your idea openly. And instead of getting one person's opinion, you get an entire room full of people. Kind of turns into a brainstorming session on steroids.
Yeah, and there's so much knowledge in these groups. These guys have gotten patents, they've invented things, they've tinkered with things, and that's what I find. And I laugh. People say, I go, you should join the Inventors Network. They're like, well, who's them? Like, a bunch of old guys with pocket protectors that are really smart. It's like they're not guys, but you know what I mean, like guys with knowledge.
Yeah.
Guys
People's been further down the road.
They've been down the road, they've tinkered, they've used their hands to do things, and your brain thinks like that. My brain is creative, but it's not necessarily mechanical. And so, you have to reach out to people who know what they're doing and give them, this is what I need. Can you do this? And this isn't the first one. Actually, the first one, he had the screw coming out and then it would screw on here. And he said, wait, I went ahead and put it in there. So it's much safer and tighter inside the piece. There's just little things.
It's all those little steps.
It is.
A lot of baby steps.
And so I've got about 50 to sell right now. And, I'm probably going to do them at a little lower cost so that I can get people to still, tell me what you think, make sure it stays together, all those things. But I did, I quizzed people on what they would pay for it. And, the value it brings to them, being able, and somebody said, well, over at like Lafayette, one of the senior places, but they can bring their pets. Said, this lady almost fell the other day. I'm like, well, running over there with my leashes. Yeah, you just have to get out there and talk and network. You really have to. And this is kind of easy because I just carry it around. If I meet somebody for lunch and I take it, somebody inevitably will say, what is that?
Yeah.
And I go, well, what do you think? Tell anybody. And they always go, it is. Be clean. But almost everybody goes, well, it looks like some sort of leash or a lead or something. And when I tell them, they go, that's genius because somebody I know, Marilyn Clark,
Everybody's got a story.
I've heard stories. Two people in our entrepreneur camp said, my wife just fell. We just fell. I just hear it all the time.
Falls are a big thing.
They're bad.
Yeah.
Who?
Falls.
Oh, yeah.
Falls are,
That sucks. Yeah.
falls suck.
How much you sell for about?
$24.
All right.
What's a leash normally go for?
Well, 15 to
$20.
50, $50.
Retractable.
Well, retractable go anywhere from like 16 to 25.
Okay, so you're right in there.
Yeah, I'm right in. My friend said they would pay from 24 to like 35. And so I went down on that side. If I can get down the shipping costs, I may be able to do a little less, but there's value and there's costs involved. And, I'm either going to go the Shark Tank way or, I've got a Kickstarter video ready to go. You saw that, but then rather than making that mold with Xometry that was going to be about $30,000, I started making my own pieces. And when we get big enough, I set up this site and start taking pre-orders. That's when hopefully a lady at Coastal Leashes will call me back. I'm like, you're going to be sorry. Carhartt makes leashes as well.
Yeah.
And they're just in Kentucky. I ordered one of those. I ordered one of every leash. And I'd take them apart and look inside and mess with them. And
Okay, we've got a funny question on here. It says, why did you go to the UK to get your leashes made? I think what it is, okay, for those of you who are not in Lexington, I've had to say this a lot tonight.
University of Kentucky.
University of Kentucky here is called UK, and I'm sure the people in the United Kingdom probably need an apology from us, but sorry.
Tried to get it right. No, the University of Kentucky, because they have an innovation lab now, and they just got bunch of 3D printers. So I went over there because I work part-time for the university's radio station there. So I said, can you print one and give me your opinion? And they won't print them for a price. They don't do it for money, but he said, here's what I would do, and I would make this a little better. So I just had a lot of people put eyes on it and took their advice in most cases. It was stupid. I didn't. No, it's not.
All right.
Well, if you have a dog that heals, it walks great. It's probably not for you. But if you have a child and a puppy, they're going down pretty quick. So
right.
A lot of control.
Well, like my dog heals perfect. He's been training stuff, but when we're walking him, especially like downtown Danville or somewhere, he wants to stop and get a smell of the previous dog that's been there. And so,
Go around a tree or
and go
anybody.
around, yeah, and so it's so aggravating. I see a tremendous use.
Oh,
And
thank
I think a bulk order contract would be good for her too. When she's talking about driving
Oh,
the
yeah.
cost down. You
Mhm.
know, if you can get network with the right people and get a bulk order contract set up
Oh, yeah.
and take X amount of pieces, you could drive that price down probably 10 bucks and sell them all day long. Huh?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And well, my friend at the farm was getting ready to take her dog out and she had her hooked up and she hooked it to the doorknob. Well, the dog couldn't wrap around it,
Yeah.
go underneath
Oh,
it, you
yeah.
know, and this, because this turns, the dog just
You don't really
stand
have-
there and, like people leave them outside, but they get wrapped
They get
around
Tangled
things.
into
So,
stuff, yeah.
yeah. So anyway, I mean, it's,
So if somebody wants to order one, is there a way to order one, or should we wait for for coming attractions?
well, I should have the website up and running. You know, I expressed this to you because I did not want to have anything up before I had product.
Right?
But now that I realize that you can actually do pre-orders,
Yep.
that's what I'm getting ready to do. Although,
Okay.
you can give out my phone number and somebody
So,
can send me a text. with their email.
Pre-orders are coming soon. I will not put your phone number
That's
out
fine.
on
Nobody has to
YouTube.
because I'm a
but-
realtor. Because I'm a realtor.
Oh, well,
They can get
that's
it
true.
everywhere.
Everybody
I mean,
can
it's like
find,
in every bathroom.
everybody knows where Missy
Yeah.
is. What?
Yeah, I'm not a secret agent, so you can give it out on there and somebody can send me a text and I'll make sure. I know.
Okay, you sure you want me to give out your phone?
I'm
You're
telling you,
absolutely fine.
Google me anyway. I mean,
Okay.
it's not secret.
Missy Ward, everybody. Missy Ward,
You can put my-
859-806. I'll
There's a
tell you what,
slide at the end.
I'll put it in the chat.
There's a slide at the end too.
Oh, well, let's do that.
And my team slide is in there, and some other
We will
stuff.
do that. Let
Yeah.
me get your, let's see.
Should have the final product design for the packaging up there. It's just gonna hang like this.
All it really needs is a tag. You see
Yeah, we're just
Tractor
gonna
Supply
put a
when I
little-
bought her horse whip, it was just that with the tag on it. So
Right, and nothing says
you don't
anything
have
on
to
it.
pack- You don't have to have.
No, it doesn't. It's kind of crazy, but I did meet with one of my mentors that said you might want to have insurance because you're making them in your home. And I mean, no other leashes say anything about insurance or you shouldn't trip. I was like,
Yeah.
I do have a provisional patent and I'm getting ready to apply for the permanent patent, so.
Good deal. All right, let's see if we've got any other questions. Well, Missy, we're excited for you. We're excited for
Thank
you.
you.
And you let us know when you are live on the web for taking pre-orders. We will push that out. We'll let everybody know. So, but congratulations.
Thank
There,
you.
everybody give her a big hand.
And to be curious and be passionate. Curious, there's ups and downs and.
Yep. And let's see, I think we've got a couple of questions in the chat from earlier. And I'm going to put a couple of links in the chat. I'm going to put one for Nick's website, and that is did I tell you all that Leo's not here tonight?
Maybe mentioned it.
Might have mentioned it once or twice. Okay, so this is Nick's company, springet.com. And if you are interested in innovations from the Willy Wonka of farming, well, that is going to be hempcattlecompany.com. And I want to put that in the chat as well. It is coming up now. There we go. And actually, that's it right there. That's hemp cattle.
So did you do any business with the people in Winchester that came and opened real big and then,
King Khan and Atalo.
yeah.
I did not do any business with them, but they were the reason, part of the impetus of why my company came into place. They were heavily involved with Clark County farmers, and Clark County is the hemp capital of Kentucky.
Salute.
Self-proclaimed hemp capital of Kentucky, and matter of fact, I battle the negative connotations that were attached to what they did to Kentucky farmers.
Yeah.
Hemp has gone from being a positive connotation across the world, and in Central Kentucky area has a bit of a negative
A lot of people lost a
backlash.
lot of
A
money.
lot of people got screwed.
I got a friend who's got a whole warehouse full of him.
Yeah, I
And
know.
that's
Wow.
I know where a lot of people that way, $1,000,000 next door. But that was the reason why I started researching cannabis sativa and hemp products, because there were so many farmers that didn't know what to do with it. They couldn't sell it. They couldn't do anything. And now mice are eating it in the barns.
right.
So I started researching out if I could feed it to animals. You can feed it to animals, but you can't sell the product. So I went down that road and was told no, and so I started modifying and going different directions. And I walked backwards into a brown Indian hemp that not a lot of people know about, called sun hemp, and I started doing that. And I sort of thought, if I made a big enough splash, that eventually people would change their mind about cannabis too. If it becomes more noted, at least through the education of what I'm doing, there might be some additional education of what cannabis can do to animals. And there's plenty of people, like I said, are banging that drum.
Oh, there's dog, I mean, Ananda, I think is who.
Tons
I
of
use
research that
Ananda,
have been done with that. But I was looking to give farmers an outlet for their product. I knew it was a tremendous source of protein. Cannabis sativa was a tremendous source of protein. And I wanted to use it for my animals, but when I was told I couldn't because it's a government controlled substance,
Right,
I went a different direction.
yeah, yep, still.
But I'm very proud of the direction that I've gone, and I do believe it is maybe not the equivalent of cannabis sativa, but it is something that I think to be the next alfalfa, especially with the world getting only
Can you
warmer.
smoke it?
No, you can't. It's
You should take the sativa. I'm like, what are you talking about, dude? Okay, sorry.
can't smoke it. No THC, no CBD. It is a legume, just like alfalfa. It is not a it is-
More closely related to what, lima beans or something?
yeah.
Or-
It's so
Like,
yeah. It's a
So,
legume. Yeah,
when you
right.
say alfalfa, I have a horse,
Huh?
and when you say
I sell
sun,
it to horse people.
when you say it's sun, is that because I mean the sun makes it sweet?
No.
You know, that's when you have hay that's in the sun,
The
too
what
much of
it's
the
called.
grass.
Its genus name is Crolataria genesea.
Okay.
It's been called sun
Sun
hemp. So sun hemp for a long
Easier to
time.
say.
It's a brown Indian hemp that has been used as a cover crop in the past.
What's it cost, like compared to a bale of hay?
It's an annual, so it is a one-off.
Oh,
In other words, it does not come back. It's not a perennial like
Oh.
alfalfa is. So there's where your cost, your
planting every year,
planting, maintenance,
water,
water.
drought.
No, actually, it does fairly well with warm temperatures. It's a tropical annual, so it actually in Kentucky is about as far north as you want to grow it. So I'm able to use it as I'm in the hay business, so I try to use it as a deterrent for opportunistic grasses like green foxtail that show up in horse hay that will cause horse owners to lose thousands of dollars when the seeds of green foxtail get in the horse's mouth. So you in the absence of cool season grasses, something will grow, and I'm trying to grow something that is higher in protein. So right when fescue and orchard grass and bluegrass and timothy stop growing, that's when sun hemp starts growing.
Gotcha.
Yeah, interesting.
Interesting stuff. Interesting stuff.
Never stop learning.
Never
Yeah.
stop. I didn't know anything about sun hemp until I just was looking for, alternative solutions.
That's what you call a serendipitous
Yeah,
invention.
we were talking about Nick's journey.
Mhm.
Nick's journey was all about. I'm sure there's plenty of people that are up on that board that had the same type of journey.
Yeah.
That when he was looking at clocks and saw something that was.
Oh, that's right. You're starting with a clock.
It
wasn't
started with a clock.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it started with a broken clock.
a broken
Broken
clock.
clock.
Which is right twice a day.
it?
And so
Tell us the broken clock story.
Yeah,
I want to hear that, Nick.
yeah,
Yeah, the broken clock. Yeah, so like I said, old man nature, clock restoration guy, and so close to my aunt Mary, which was in Rose Hill, I believe the name of the whole community. And so I stop in and check on him sometimes, and he, I was fascinated with the tools that he used to build little cogs and stuff. I mean, he had all kinds of intricate little tools. And so he would if somebody sent him a broken clock, he'd fix what was wrong with it and send it back. That's what he done for, side money or whatever. And so when he passed away, his wife said that he wanted me to have this big, awesome tote full of brass antique gears and cogs and
Oh, wow.
worm drives and just all kinds of cool stuff, and they're all antique. So it's like, quality stuff. And so as I'm digging through the box, I find a piece, and it wasn't the actual clock, but it was the gear mechanism that actually turns the old clocks. You wind it up and it keeps time. And so I kept looking at it, and I would try to wind it, and it wouldn't wind up anymore. It was just wound just as tight as it could go. And I thought, well, that's strange. I wonder what's wrong with it. I kind of like to see the movement of it, the action of it. And I chased it down to the very top little piece, which was like a little seesaw timer piece, and the bar that supports it was swayed or bent a little bit. And I thought, well, here's what's causing it, and I took a flathead screwdriver and flipped it out of there. And as soon as I flipped it out, it starts to unwind. And of course, it's on a gearbox, so that every time the spring turns one time, the very top one's spinning out of control. I mean, it's just spinning. You can hear it humming.
Wow.
And so I let it unwind, which took forever. And I wound it back up, which didn't take very long at all. And I watched it unwind again, and just like light bulb hit. Like, wait a minute, this thing's turning. And all I have to do is put a little input here.
Uh-huh.
We hook a generator to that and collect that current that's coming off. And so, like I said, I went to Hobby Lobby, and they had this little children's windmill kit. Basically, you could kind of hang it out the window, and it turned the generator. And I fixed it to it. And literally with the test dispenser and some putty, and I got it. And it took a minute because it was weird.
The Pez returns.
And I'll have to show you guys.
I've heard a lot of things that are Frankentype. I have never heard Pez dispenser.
I know.
Yeah, I know.
It was the perfect
height.
It was the perfect height to match where I needed. I needed that generator in line with that top, sprocket, because any if it was out of kilter, it would cause it to bind.
What did you do with the head of this Pez? I mean, did you just sit there, or did you take it off?
No, we took it off.
Oh, so that's the
I
part
just
I didn't
needed,
get.
I just needed
Yes. You
that.
see the mechanism
Uh-huh.
inside.
I see. You took
But it worked perfectly. It worked perfect, and the light
Wow.
came on. It spooled up, and the light came on.
Two lights came on.
Two lights
Right,
came
right,
on, that's
right.
right.
Sound that one.
And so we
Good story.
we built a
Yeah.
bigger one.
It is.
We kept thinking, well, this is small scale. We'll have to build a big one, turn it like a windmill turbine. So we went to hurricane winds and ordered, real nice slant core magnetic, turbine, and done it on a bigger scale and producing 4,000 watts and scalable. So
Wow.
yeah, we can drink some electricity without putting fuel into it.
I find it fascinating that nobody was able to.
I know. I
I
mean,
mean, that's
well, here's my
tremendous. Like,
explanation.
especially with wind
It's
up
like,
toys.
yeah.
Well, here's
They
what
don't wind
happened.
up, or
This is-
I had a car that used to wind up next to sparks.
Yeah.
Right.
You remember that?
Well, check it out. So here's what I figure happened also. Back when they used to have wind up clocks, okay, the battery hadn't been invented.
That's right.
And
They
by
never
the
put
time
two and
that-
two
no, they
together.
never picked up the pieces. It's kind of like I came around and
It's
picked
like
up all
they
those
left
pieces.
one
and kinda
thing and
combined them.
That's right.
Old
Yeah.
world,
That's
innovation,
really cool.
That's what happened when we flashed them together. Realized that, hey, we can actually catch that current, and collect it in a battery bank and then invert it through Cinewave and get raw electricity. So
He just sits Cineways.
Wow.
it was.
Sounds like a snack.
It does.
Yeah.
Right over my
Cinnamon
head.
Cineways.
That's normally how it happens,
It was
I wasn't looking for Sun Hemp. I didn't invent Sun Hemp. It's been around. I just started using it for a different usage than people had ignored it for years. And kind of the same thing. People just never put two and two together.
Right.
Yeah.
And if you're able to do the math before anybody else does, it puts you on a path that you never saw yourself. How long you been on this journey?
Well, at least 2-3 years, maybe longer.
Yeah.
Especially with the newer model. That,
Oh, yeah.
We had a couple
Sounds like
prototypes.
you've
It's
taken
a
incredible
process.
steps that
Yeah.
fast.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
Well, the first, like I say, we went from the small one and we built a bigger one, but we used belts and pulleys, and that didn't work because the spring torque was greater.
Too much.
Yeah, it was burning the belt. Like, I mean, you couldn't, I was thinking, well, I mean, a lawnmower goes through a lot more torque than that. Obviously it doesn't, because we couldn't,
That's
we
right.
put all kinds of tension pulleys on it and we couldn't stop it from slipping. It would smoke, it was smoking the belt. So we was like, what can we do? So we went to change the sprocket,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so the
engineers are-
the transfer needed to be solid.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so like I said, instead of changing sprocket, now they're doing a transmission that's got like a bevel gear system in it, magnetic bearings and stuff like that. So it's gonna be super efficient and we'll be, in cogging and stuff. So the less friction cost and heat, the more efficient the machine is. So that's what these guys, we needed their software, you know?
Wow.
When you did your IP, did you have to obviously go back to clockmakers patents and
Well,
Or did you
oh
completely
yeah,
redo that?
no, we've seen some resistance from the patent office. The examiners, they first said that we were perpetual, and we knew that we didn't know we weren't at the time. We
You're
had to hire
not,
an
yeah.
electrical engineer, you know, to show them a formulation saying, hey,
Right.
if you don't wind this thing up or leave it sitting in the sun, it's
That's
just gonna
right.
die.
Right.
You know, so it ain't
Yeah.
perpetual.
Right.
But it is fuelless, you know, they'll put in combustible fuel, you know. And so, yeah, there was a little bit of tension there at first. They didn't, like I said, they kind of turned our patent down and stuff, and we ended up having, you know, we wanted to make sure we weren't crossing any other people's patents, because if you do that, you can't get a patent.
That's
So
right.
our
Previous.
claims was, you know, we
Right.
finally narrowed our claims down to where they was like, you know, all right, we're gonna have to patent it for you.
how
Right.
many did you have?
We had to file 2 appeals. We had to go through 2 different appeal processes to get it. It cost a little bit of
How
money.
many
to go
claims
back
did you have to make?
I think there was like 28.
There was a few probably. I mean, you're talking
Yeah.
about like, there's probably,
If you get no office actions, I'm always surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, that's like, oh yeah, oh look, I got my first office action. So it's just like
Yeah.
a rite of passage, I think, for inventors sometimes.
Yeah.
well,
You're always going through that.
I mean, that's a great idea. And
Yeah.
And it, I don't know.
Right place,
Like I
right
was-
time.
like I was just
Yeah.
getting ready to say, I was like, I'd love to buy a jackal. I can wind something up and not have to. My father, who's an engineer, always says there's no substitute for combustion. There might be.
Well, I mean.
And I tell you what, I don't know, it got said like on the very sly there when you were talking about your invention on the screen. She asked the question, how much noise? And you were like, not a lot. That in
We had
itself
it.
is fantastic.
We had it at the state fair. It
Yeah.
was, no.
But
it
you
was
follow what I'm
not.
saying, like
Nice little hum, just a.
a
Well,
generator.
it makes an noise when you calibrate. You know,
You're having a
like I said, there's
party,
fog in there. It
you're
makes
having a
little noise, but
party.
With the lid down, you can't, now the lid open, you can kind of hear the noise of the machine, but that's all solvable by a stronger.
But a lot of homeowners associations won't allow that in a
That's
HOA.
right.
So that's why it's a great
tremendous
selling
side-
point.
That's tremendous side selling benefit for it is that it's silent. There's nothing worse than a generator running
Oh, yeah.
on top
Absolutely.
of everything and everybody,
Oh, yeah.
oh, you gotta have it because there's some places that, you know what I'm saying, camping. Okay, I'll tie it even worse because I'm a big nature guy and I believe that the connection to nature is huge. Ready? Dogs, cats, animals walking. She mentioned it. Her premise is that people need animals, whether it be dirt, a garden, a potted plant, a dog, a cat, a bird, anything like that. We need that connection to nature. It's critical. Hold on, let me finish. But then your point is you're out in nature, you're camping, you're trying to connect, you're listening to the birds and bees. You don't want to leave you don't want to let your phone, you don't lose your connection to
Yeah, your
well,
vehicle,
all your stuff that you don't want to, that you become addicted or need necessities in your life. But you have to have a generator to keep those going, and you lose that connection to the trees
Yeah,
and
for all the noise.
all the noise that it's part of it. It's really that's cool.
I'm thinking also because just from experience over here in Seattle, we're not really oriented for survival. And the power grids went out. People were out of electricity for a week. And actually, people died because they were using those little gas grills inside of their home. And so this would be perfect for smaller layouts where it's in a condo in Seattle. So something like this would be awesome.
I think she's exactly right. You just bring up another point that's a pro. If you want me to be your lead salesman, I'll be glad to. But I mean,
An emergency.
these times we see things, we think there's a lot of smart people in this world, but the public are a bunch of morons. So gas generators, how many people do you trust? How many accidents happen? We're talking about people that can't walk their dog without the leash hurting them falling down. It's
Well,
true.
the problem is when you have a gas generator and you have a problem with it, you have to call a company to come out and deal with it in the middle of an emergency. So it's not really conducive. So
This is fairly simple. I think, sorry,
Super
I think,
simple.
I think it's a, I think it's,
Yeah.
there's all
So-
kinds of other hidden benefits. Obviously, you probably know these things.
Well,
I'm not,
we've tried to conquer them all, and I mean, there's so many different avenues
Yeah.
for people, applications for the thing that,
So Nick, can you tell about what's next, or is that still under wraps?
Well, we're technically waiting on the finances for the engineering team to go ahead with the production model. And then like I said, we're trying to come out with 3 different models. We got the backpack model, 750 model for, RV, hobbyist that does remote control vehicles, drones and that thing, stuff like that. Or for hikers, to keep their stuff, GPS is charged, whatever. And then we got the mid-size model, which you'll see, the 4,000 watt model, which is for camping, emergency outings. We got a tornado shelter company that's wanting to get involved and start putting these in their tornado shelters. And then of course the whole house unit, and so the way our patent is set up, we've not excluded anybody. You can charge it with solar panel, calibrate the spring with solar panel. You can hand crank it, of course, but you can also charge it by the grid. So if you are, say, in a city or something like that, and you've got the whole house unit, the grid actually recalibrates it, and it becomes pretty much a step-up transformer in your home. So like you're using a little bit of energy, but you're making, supplying your own house with it. But,
Nice.
so that's
Nick, just out of curiosity, do you have a slide deck for presentation that I could send on to some VCs here in Seattle?
yeah, no
I
doubt.
think we have, I know we've done a deck. I know we've done the business plan and the pitch deck. I think it might have
Okay.
some stuff on it, but like I said, we've rebranded it, so we kind of have to touch it up a little bit. We tried to angle it to where we were applying and we kind of made a mistake applying just to the eco people that was in it because it's fuelless. And we come to find out, like I said, there wasn't a whole lot of people that they were interested in eco-friendly stuff, but they didn't want to push it for whatever reason. So we kind of branded it back to where it's a prepping / whatever you want to use it for. It's kind of if you
Are
want to
you
use
taking
it.
on?
Alternative
Uh,
source of energy.
Are you taking on that?
We're seeking investors, and like I said, we're trying to find investors that don't want more than controlling the interest of the company.
What kind of trade are you looking at?
I don't know. I mean, really, $120,000 is what we like going to the market. So we don't want to give a large percent of the company away
All right.
for that little bit of money.
Throw that number out there.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm just saying, I know some angel investors. I'm with a group, and
You're thinking about
if
10 grand. You're thinking about
you
10
want me to send something to them, because it's not a super large investment.
Well,
know.
and Nick, I'd be happy to work with you on that. And Angelina, if you'd want to reach out to me directly, do you have my email address?
Let me check.
Or reach out to us on our website. Well, if you've got an email and invite, then you just use that email address. That should be me. So anyway, with that,
I got a
other-
quick question for you, Nick.
Okay, go ahead.
So you put your prototype and your Frankentype together from the clock pieces.
Yeah.
And so now you say you're having somebody else redesign the whole thing. Is that, you got patents on, like, you just went from this design to you're getting
Well, that's why
another
we didn't
design.
do a design patent, and there was a reason behind that. Ken Pierce, like I said, is our patent attorney. And he didn't want to, if we'd done a design patent where I'd use, say, like chain and sprocket, they could come in with the transmission and
Change it.
pretty much steal our idea,
Ah,
But when we done intellectual property patents, we patented it from, going from a spring to a gearbox, anything.
Right.
It's a
considered gearbox
conceptual
transmission.
part that carries through.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, so it, like I say, it's covered under the intellectual property patent, the process to make the electric. So it doesn't matter what type of spring you use, what type of battery bank, what type of transmission, it's all covered in
The design
Covers the
practice.
conceptual of each part.
Yeah,
In other words,
stage order.
it's, now,
Yeah.
if he changes something
Cool.
completely different, as in like structure,
Well, I would have to change.
it would take something,
Yeah.
then it would become moot, but that's for what he's
I'd have to
doing.
change the stage order in order for it to, violate our patent. But the stage order, if you change it, it won't make electricity. We try to put the cart in front of the horse, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
This
it
guy,
has to
this
stay
guy's got.
All right. Well, I'll tell you
I
what.
mean,
Let's. I think it's time to wrap it up. Well, any parting thoughts, Missy? We'll start with you.
No, I appreciate y'all let me come here and talk about the leash. There was one thing that, they put in a bank, what's the crypto banks called? Like,
All the
they put-
cryptocurrency,
well, wait, they put in one
cryptocurrency?
of those banks in,
A cryptocurrency bank.
in,
Like a bank?
ATM?
no, in the ground, like where they mine it. They put
Oh,
in a
oh,
mine.
oh,
crypto
crypto
mining.
mining. Yeah, yeah,
Oh, by Red River Gorge. And they didn't ask anybody, or they didn't tell anybody. And so I've got an article, I'm trying to.
What's a
I'll put the
crypto
time.
What's a crypto?
It's where they mine the
They're mining
cryptocurrency and the
the-
energy and whatever. Look it up.
Okay.
So this
Yeah.
woman complained, like the city didn't ask them anything about it. So it buzzes all the time.
Yeah.
The city buzzes all the time. The animals aren't coming out. That there's like, it's ruined their lives up here in the mountains, where this, all of a sudden they put this mine, this crypto mine.
A spring ET for crypto mining.
Yeah, silent crypto. mining.
So I just thought, you know,
Crypto
you think
mining.
about the animals.
There
and
you
the noise
go.
and things
There
like
you
that.
go.
But it's crazy because they had no idea, and all of a sudden they had for the buzz alarm,
Oh.
they found out that the city had done that.
There's gonna be a
That's
little
wild.
one now that has to crank that all the time, you know, to keep that going.
Oh, there's ways around
Go
that.
with the sun. But
Oh, any parting thoughts, Nick?
thoughts? I mean,
Yeah,
I'm impressed with
Spring
everybody shared
ET?
today. What's Spring ET? Parting thoughts? I don't know. We're just chipping away at it, you know. And that's
All
what
right.
every inventor has to do. They just have to move forward. I mean,
And, but they want to find you, springet.com.
springet.com. I think
Okay.
all of our information on there. You can
Okay.
purchase that way. And,
All righty.
SPRINGET.com.
it's, ET.com.
All
Or you can
right.
get us. I think it's Gen Evolutions. At gmail.com, I believe is our email.
Okay.
Yeah, but it should be on the website. I
Okay.
know it's on.
All right. Good
If not, they
deal.
can reach out, like I said, reach out
Okay.
to Ron and Neil.
All right. All right. And a big shout out to your daughter who's here with us tonight behind the scenes, Bailey.
Yeah, she came with us.
Bailey, you want to wave at us or anything? Come on, camera.
This is my roadie here. She comes.
There
with
you
us-
go.
She comes with us to the trade show. But she takes our pictures and helps us out with our camera.
She
All
showed me
right.
the
Gotta love
pants.
that.
Yeah.
She pulled it up on there. Yeah, she showed us. I'm like, okay.
Oh,
Camera
neat,
head
neat.
was his.
Well, thanks so much for that. And Kevin, parting thoughts.
Oh, I don't get my hair blown back very often, but I think I did.
All right.
And I'm impressed with Nick and Missy's
I
invention.
am too. I love it.
You know, the things you don't know until you know.
Right.
I think they're out here. That's what I love about this network.
I do too.
Yeah.
It's, I think the camaraderie, the journeys that we're all on. Like I say this every time I'm on here, but the connection that people need, we really need each other. And when you get lost on this road, on this journey, I'm sure everybody's been there, you know, it's on
Oh,
this,
yeah.
on this, you know, that have somebody to go, hey, well, I'm not alone. And,
That's it.
Well, and
And-
nothing is about stuff. Nothing's about the leash. Everything's about people.
it is about
Everything you
people.
do is about people. And if you keep that in mind, instead
Yeah.
of thinking about the product, think about the people and the purpose.
Yeah. And the other parting thought is I'm sitting there going, can I trade a half a beef to Nick for part of his company?
Hey, if hemp fed, yeah. I mean,
Everybody's got to eat.
I love
Hey,
it.
Nick, yeah.
Okay,
Hey, Nick.
if you want a good steak from Hemp Cattle Company, where do you go?
Actually, I like to. I got a little sidebar. Tomorrow, if you're in the area, I had an idea about salt and mineral feeders that I've been doing on my farm, and I've got a couple of high school kids that have been in my shop for the last week on spring break making them.
Oh,
And we're gonna
cool.
launch on social media tomorrow and help some farmers out, help high school kids. We're using barrels that are would normally be thrown away
Wow.
to make mineral feeders for farmers. So if you're in the area, keep your eyes out. We are going to flood the market on Facebook. We're going to join every
Oh.
page and we're going to put a picture of those kids on there tomorrow. So mentally prepare yourself to see.
What social media? So
We'll
they-
use Facebook. We're just gonna,
Okay.
because that's where
So we're
horse
on-
farmers are normally on. So we're gonna get on every horse page that every group, you know what I'm saying, I think,
Yeah.
and put a picture of those kids that have made them on
Oh,
there.
wow.
And we're gonna sell them tomorrow. And I don't know if we're gonna drive around and make deliveries, probably. But I put the ball in their court. They took my idea and I've been using it on my farm, and they really wanted to make a bunch of them. So we got a bunch of barrels that were gifted to us by Bourbon Recycling, and they're all food grade barrels. So in other words, basically we're taking barrels that would have been thrown in the trash or maybe not have a home. And
Wow.
we're trying to
That's
help.
very cool.
Yeah.
So if somebody wants to go on Facebook, how do they find you?
Well, I mean, I
Or-
guess you
or-
just find Kevin Poole if you want to find me, but tomorrow, trust me, we were gonna flood the market. If
Just go to Facebook and they'll find you.
If I use this little trick
I love
with my horse, my Wildcat hay. We basically, we join groups and that people that are looking for something, because like I said, people don't know or they're not really interested in it. It can get lost. But when you actually join groups that people want, for instance, like you need to join every group, it has to do with any type of dogs, pets, or anything. When you start marketing, it's a free commercial. Basically, you take a picture of your stuff, you take a quick picture, and you write about the problem that you just described to us, and you put it on Facebook, and you just flood the market with people. And not only you get free advertising, you're actually advertising to people that will buy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the,
Wow.
and
Cool.
I built a monster of Wildcat hay.
I remember.
out of that, doing that, and I became somewhat of a hay celebrity.
Hey, that's pretty.
People, I don't think people even wanted to buy my hay. They just wanted to have a picture and have me posted on Facebook. So I'm serious.
Wow.
So we're gonna flood the market with it tomorrow. Help some high school kids out tomorrow, and
Cool. All right.
and do a little recycling.
Fantastic.
Excellent.
All right. Well, everybody, thank you all for being here tonight with me. And thank you all on YouTube and on our inner circle on Zoom. And we are so glad to see you tonight. Stay tuned. We've got stuff coming up in May at the Inventors Network. And I think you're going to want to find out about it. So stay tuned. Watch your email inboxes. If you're not getting an email, that means we're in your spam folder. Go check that out and pull us out of there. So thanks again. Have a great weekend, and we will see